Hi, my name's Fish. Today I'm going to be talking about an exciting update coming to Codewalker in the near future. The path editor has been updated with almost every flag at your disposal. On top of that, previous restrictions around editing roads inside the city have been fixed. Let's open up the path editor and see what's changed. So if I go to selection, I hit mouse select path in the drop down, you can see the new path editor. It looks very similar to the old path editor and a lot of it is the same, but quite clearly we can see we have our in lanes and out lanes highlighted. If I click on one of the nodes using right click, I'm going to hit T to show the menu up at the top left and hit the new button. This will bring up the project menu and it will show you all the flags on this node. One thing you'll notice is the area ID and node ID are grayed out. These are now auto-calculated and you should not touch them. One of the most exciting new additions to this is the special type. So this was previously in flags 1 and it was the 5 tick boxes at the bottom. So if I select the drop down on special type, I can see I can assign a special type to this node, and these types are used to control the AI in both PEDs and vehicles. We have parking space, which isn't used at all, so this is pretty useless. It's probably going to be removed before this goes live. We have a couple of PED nodes, and I'll talk about PED nodes later. We have a traffic light junction stop sign, a caution, which works hand in hand with the PED node road crossing. We have another PED road crossing that I'll talk about later as well. We have a restricted access flag and we have an off-road junction which is set automatically, so you don't need to worry about this. Moving on to links. So links are the connections between two nodes, and we can view our node links up at the top here by clicking path links. This shows a list of all links that are on this node. So if I click on this link here, you can see this box here is highlighted, and that's our link between this node and this node. Links are two-way, so this node here has a link, and this node here has a partner link going the other way, so they're bidirectional. The flags on links, we have one for whether the GPS goes both ways. We have another for blocking if there are no lanes. I can't seem to get that one to work, but again, I'm fairly confident that's what it is due to data mining. We have a tick box that says that the AI should not use this for navigation. I'll talk about this a little bit later on as well. This is the purple edges that you see. We have one for whether it's a shortcut. Talk about shortcuts later as well. They're the blue links that you see. We have a flag for whether this road is a narrow road, so this turns the size of the lanes from 5 to 4. We have another one for whether this is a dead end, and one for whether it's a dead end exit. Offset is the gap in the middle. This only really applies to two-way roads. So if I tick back lanes 2 here, and I change forward lanes to 2, and I increase my offset, you can see that the road is pushed out. Let's talk a little bit about the don't use for navigation flag. On a link, if you look at these purple links here, there's a flag for don't use for navigation. What this does is makes the AI ignore the next node, basically. So if we look at this slipway here, the AI is going to get to this node. It's going to want to go this way, but it's going to ignore that node. It's going to ignore that node, and it's going to aim at this node. So it's going to be a very smooth transition from here to that node there. And that's basically don't use for navigation in a nutshell. Let's talk about junction height maps. Junction height maps are attached to junctions and they let the game know how high a vehicle should be when they're far away from the player and they don't have any physics on them. To add a junction height map to a junction, you hit the junction tab up at the top, tick the enable junction height map button, and this will generate a big red box. Hit generate a couple of times and you should get a height map on the ground. You can play about with the max Z and min Z. Keep hitting generate until you get something that you're happy with. So if we take this hill here, for example, you can see there's a bit of a bump. If I put the height map over that bump and hit generate, there's a wee red spot where that bump is. Shortcuts. Shortcuts are the blue lines that you see floating around the map. They're used by vehicles that are chasing the player rather than normal AI traffic. And they let the chasing vehicle know that they can cut across this road onto the other side if the player decides to do a U-turn. Or they can, over here, cut across this slip lane if the player decides to, go left at this junction. Cannot go left, cannot go right, and left turns only. The best way to see how these are used is really to look at what Rockstar did. So if we click on this slip lane here, it's the end of the slip lane and it's connecting to this junction. So this is tagged as left turn only. They can only go left at the junction. On the main road, so this is the node that has the middle lane and the right lane, we have cannot go left ticked because we don't want those vehicles going left as well as the slip lane. Cannot go right is very similar. It's very self-explanatory. If we take this node for example, there's a very tight turn to the right here, so we don't really want vehicles going that way because they'll get stuck and they might hit the vehicles on the other side. So cannot go right has been enabled on this node. So as the vehicle's going this way, they're not allowed to turn right at the next node. Let's start to talk about ped nodes. Ped nodes are very similar to vehicle nodes. If you create a node and set the special type to one of the ped node types, it becomes a ped node. One of the most important ped nodes, probably the most important one, is the ped node road crossing. You'll find these around traffic lights and they work hand in hand with the traffic lights to tell the peds when they can cross the road. You can see that the ped node has a link to another ped node and that's where they can cross. They're not only found at traffic lights though. You'll find ped node crossings also at stop signs where the vehicle node is assigned either the caution flag or the stop sign flag. Traffic light stop nodes are found alongside the ped nodes and they tell the vehicle where they should stop. You'll find them on any lanes that are going into the traffic light junction. And that just about covers the changes that are coming. Over the next few weeks I'll be creating specific videos about creating junctions and creating traffic light stops and whatnot. But as for the overview of what's changed, that's it. Thank you everyone for watching.